Good evening and welcome to Gator's Garage, the home of all things historical gaming in and around the great city of Savannah, Georgia. You have your host with you this week for the Mike and Randy Show, Mike Baker and Randy Yan. This week we'll be talking about one of Randy's latest solitaire games and some things that he's learned regarding playing solitaire, some ideas that you might can use. Can't always find an opponent, so sometimes you've got to break the toy soldiers out and walk through yourself. So we'll be talking about that. We'll be talking about some of the new products coming out from Warlord that I'm particularly excited about, and a couple of other items of news that are coming down the hatch. So, first order of business is talking about solitaire gaming. So, Randy, tell us what it's like. What are you trying to accomplish?
Yeah, so I don't really have a lot of chances to play against other opponents, and we've got Siege of Augusta coming up pretty quick, and then Warzone Atlanta hot on the heels of that. And I've with version 3 being so new, I've really got to try to hammer down something that I want to take, and so that's what it's all about, and that's kind of why this particular game was um, Rangers versus British, because they're both armies that I like to play, and it kind of gives me a feel for which one I might like better. I've been doing some videotaping, but honestly, when I do that, it really takes away from me being able to actually play the game. So this time I didn't videotape it. I did an after report, wrap up, little short video, and then I just focused on playing the game.
Excellent, excellent. So let's talk about who we had involved. Oh, and before we get too much deep here, folks, y'all know the drill. Like, share, subscribe, share with your friends. like I said yesterday, share with your enemies. Just share. But yeah, we want to get the word out. We think it's kind of a fun channel. I know Randy and I have a good time doing our show, and I do some solitaire projects that are pretty interesting as well. So your support helps us grow, and we're grateful for it. So, Randy, what army you want to
Sharing,
look at first? What's
sharing is
that?
caring, by the way.
Sharing is
Sharing
caring.
is
That's
caring.
right. There we go. All right. I think what we have here is this is
Yeah,
the British Airborne.
the British. Yep.
Yes.
So
The
I've been
British are
kind of
coming.
fond of these paratroopers.
Yeah. So, what was your two factions for the game?
So we got Rangers and British paratroopers.
Ah, training exercise.
Yeah, broke out the laser tag and went at it.
There you go. There you go.
All right.
So, tell us
So
about it.
yeah,
What do we got going on here?
yeah. So we got the inexperienced officer for the first platoon. Yep,
Right.
gotta love it. Cheap as chips, as Bo would say.
Oh my gosh, I love it. There you go. Yeah, I mean,
uh,
tournament play. It's all about economy of force. I get it.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you want to bring stuff you want to play, but in the end, you do still have to consider, economy of force. Best
Yeah.
bang for your buck type thing.
Right. Right.
Yeah. So I got two squads of paratroopers in this platoon. Uh,
Light squads. Really light. Very brittle.
well, so the first one is 7-man,
Sure.
and they're all rifles, and then
Yeah.
this other
So you'll pick up
squad
those two
is
extra shots.
yeah, 5 submachine guns.
Oi.
So they're more of a push unit. Forward observer. Um, these work out really well. I've bringing two. You got to bring two, and it just creates a mass of pins on the enemy. I mean, it really hamstrings them. We'll talk about that a little bit farther in on how that worked in the game.
Been there, done
Uh,
that. Yes. I
yeah.
hate your forward observers, just so you know.
Yeah. Anti-tank rifle team.
Right?
They're just so good. They have, since they've extended the range to 48. You
Yeah.
can throw pins on any tank. You can reach across the board to any distance at 48 inches. Armored cars beware. Soft skins are they're dead. You hit them with one of
What
those and it's
what did it
just
used
gone.
to be? 24 or 36?
It was 36. So what that
Okay.
does is the penetration drops at half range still. And before 18 inches was not much. You're really in, danger zone when you get to 18 inches. So to try to get that extra +2 penetration was a lot harder. Now with it being at 48, you get the +2 out at 24. That's a
Got
little
it.
more survivable, you know.
Right.
All
Is
right,
it
so
too
I got a
early?
couple like,
Is it too early in the show to make a squad leader analogy?
yeah, yeah. Let's wait. uh, we know you're gonna do it though.
Of course, of course.
Yeah. So I got 2 light mortars in this platoon.
Okay.
Um, honestly, so you need 4 in your army. You need 4 to make it effective, um, because you can really mass on somebody with 4 of them, and if you want to pick on one unit, you can really hurt them with that. Uh, so, and we'll
Yes,
go over
yes, we
that too
know.
because they scored a major hit in this game. So
Now I
we'll
notice
talk
you're
about
running
that.
those inexperienced. I thought they had to be
Yep.
at least regular to use a
Well,
spotter.
so I didn't have the points. Um, so if you bring a regular, you can use a spotter and you can hide them. Um, so basically, this is the way Bo runs them. And what you have to do with these, there's 2 things you have to do with them. One, you have to keep them behind cover. And since you don't pay a penalty for movement, when you go to shoot them, you advance out into cover and shoot.
Okay.
Um, and you want to do it at the end of the round, last thing you do. And if they get shot at, you just go down. And so the theory behind that is, I've got a 21 point unit, and if somebody wants to shoot their 80, 90, 100 point unit at my 21 point unit, I'm going to go down and survive. I've made them waste a turn on an expensive unit. So
Y-
it's a win.
And that's one of the things I'm really starting to appreciate about the turn sequence for bolt action. It's a 6 or 7 turn game. If you knock a unit out for a turn, you've knocked them out for, anywhere between 12 and 17% of the game.
Yeah.
That's not a small percentage. 2 turns, you've got them out for a third of the game. So I really can appreciate that. I also always forget that I can move that light mortar and fire with it.
Yeah.
Still a 6. Who cares, right?
Yeah.
No penalty
And
for
and
moving.
so
Yeah.
yep, on the other side of that, as far as shooting back, if I shoot at a unit and let's say it's an MMG team,
Yeah.
um, and they're like, oh, I'm gonna have to go down because if I hit them, I'm gonna kill 2 guys and they're gonna take a pin and they're gonna have to make a morale check. So a lot of times, especially if you start ranging in, if you get into the 5s and 4s, they're gonna go down. Well, now I've taken a 21 point unit and made a much more expensive unit go down and taking them out of the
Okay.
game a turn. So
Right.
yeah,
Or they're going to move. But either way, they're out of the game. They're out of the game for a turn. And if you
yeah,
make them move, most players, myself, when I've got a medium machine gun team, I'm putting it in a spot where it can have a pretty significant impact on the battlefield. So you make
yeah,
me move that medium machine gun, and that's going to be a problem. Okay, go ahead.
yeah, yeah. So that's if somebody's got an artillery piece or a machine gun team, that's where this is going. I'm going to shoot every one of them at it, and I'm going to make them move and take them out of the game. So I got an LVT. This is something new. Of course, I ran this in version 2, but it hauls a bunch of people. It's armored. It allows you to push up into fire. But the biggest thing about this is it has 2 pintle MMGs with flak. So
Hmm.
the air observer is starting to become a thing with the Americans. And if somebody brings a couple air observers, I want to be able to shoot them down. And so 12 shots of flak fire. I'm pretty sure I'm going to get 3 hits, but I've got another little. It's not in this list, but I've got another little thing I'm going to do, and I can talk about that at the end of this bit here to give me a little more flak. All right, so
I
I got a
always feel
brim
like
carrier.
I feel like you
Mhm.
give me a lot of flack anyway. So
Yeah, oh yeah, flak is good. uh, All right, so Bren carrier, that's obviously for the 5-man paratroops to push them up
Right.
with the submachine guns
Yep.
because you want to get them in close. We know
Yeah.
how deadly they can be. Right, Mike?
Oh gosh, I hate your brain carriers almost as much as I hate your LVTs. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're little armored things and just a cheap machine gun that you can run around the board with. It's crazy. And it's the
I
same thing
think
in
we're
Flames of
missing the
War.
first
Love
page,
it.
Mike.
Did I miss page 1?
Yeah, we did because
Oh. Uh,
there we go.
platoon commander, paratroop section. Page 2,
Yep, that
more
was it.
paratroops. Okay. And then
Yeah,
page
back it up to
3,
that first one. Yeah,
we
go ahead and
did
back
page
it up.
1.
No, we
Yeah.
didn't. We
Oh,
started
okay.
on
Okay,
page
my
2.
bad.
Yeah,
Sorry
because I
about
was
that.
wondering why, because this one has the 2 rifle sections. So the first platoon has an inexperienced lieutenant with 2 7-man paratroops. And then I have my
A little
company
more robust.
commander. Yeah. Well, they're all 7 except for the 5 with the submachine guns. And so that's why they ride in the Bren. So I can kind of keep them from taking casualties until I can get up close
Got it.
with the submachine
Makes
guns.
sense.
Yeah.
So I noticed no light machine guns with your riflemen.
No, I wanted to take advantage of, well, points was one issue. And then I want to take advantage of the rapid fire. So
Right.
if I throw
Right.
a light machine gun in, and I plan on pushing these guys up, so I should be able to get within 24 fairly quickly, and then their
Sure.
extra shots will make up for the light machine gun not being there.
Pretty close. Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah, actually, well, okay, interesting. And then, okay, so this is configured very similar to the other one we looked at,
yeah.
to your second platoon, other than your rifle platoons are a little bit more robust.
We got a
Got
company
the company
commander.
commander there.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
And
because
as
being able to pull 4 dice is huge. If you want to
yes,
overwhelm somebody,
yeah, it
it
really
really
is. And
is.
I'm just like, having been there, done that, I'm going to have to find a way to, I may have to break down if I'm going to play with you guys and do the whole inexperienced officer thing as much as it makes my teeth itch.
Yeah,
Because the dipole mechanic is just so valuable. So that's really
yeah,
good. And then these guys, of
yeah,
course, there's your first 2. So platoon 1, and there's your first set of light mortars. And we just looked at platoon 2, and it
yeah.
had another pair of another brace of light mortars. And then now we switch into your armored platoon.
Armor platoon.
Uh, oh,
Yeah,
geez.
so there's a scout car, um,
Yep.
and that
Up at the
was
top.
to help push up one of the. I wanted to push one of the paratroopers in that, and then one
Okay.
squad goes in the LVT, and I didn't want to put 2 squads in the LVT in case I don't want it to become a bullet magnet and think, well, oh,
Right.
I've got a whole bunch of units in here. I'm going to kill it. So just put one in there, and then the squad, they're on their own. They just have to hoof it.
I think depending on the tactical situation, I'd put both squads in the LVT.
Yeah.
Just
Or
towards
that
trying to,
that
you know, push them up behind cover and then unload behind cover.
so they can walk behind the LVT for cover, or I
Yeah,
can
that's true.
outflank them. I can also
Yeah.
outflank them because they're veteran. So um, probably no problem coming in and outflank.
I noticed that scout car's got the Modus.
Yeah, that's some more flak. That's another 6 shots of flak.
Yeah.
So,
Wow. Okay. There
so
you
no
go.
planes are coming in.
6.
Yeah,
Wow. Yeah.
yeah.
They
So
come
it
in, they're
shoots
gonna
6
die.
in flak. It only does 3 at
Okay.
on the table, but in flak fire, it's so that's a
Right.
total of 18 shots. So if I can't, I should be able to get 3 hits in 18 shots. So
Roger
most
that.
planes are not coming in. Yeah.
Okay. And I mean, and that was definitely a factor on all fronts was small arms flak versus ground attack aircraft was a real
Yeah.
problem. Um, the Germans commented on it on the Eastern Front. They'd dive on the Russian lines, and every Russian with a rifle would start opening up on them. So yeah,
Well,
it
in
could
the
cause them some
British,
trouble.
we haven't seen it yet, but in version 2, the British had a light machine gun that was like a medium machine gun. It was an artillery piece. It was actually listed in the artillery section. It was a
Huh.
light machine gun on a stick, and it was 2 men, and it had flak fire.
Okay. Yeah. I've seen that
Yeah,
setup, and I've seen pictures of that setup, and just about
yeah.
every army did it. So that's pretty cool. Oh, our friends the Stewards, and it
Good
wouldn't
old
be Randy's
Stewards.
army if we dual Stewards.
Yeah, I didn't have
Nice.
these when we played because these are a little heavy, but I got a couple DACA Stewards here. And
Mm,
so that's my anti-tank. I don't have any Piats in this list. So I'm relying on 2 light anti-tank guns to do the work for me.
boy.
So, but also the forward artillery observers, 2 of them, they're going after tanks as well. I mean,
Sure.
if you pin a tank, you're winning.
Right.
If I can, especially if I catch a tank on the edge of the board, I'm going to pin it down, and then hopefully I'll entice him to activate and fail and back up off the table.
Right. And you've got a couple, 3 things too. In the new rules, um, unless they're bringing veteran tanks, which again are very pricey, your Ma Deuce on the white car is going to cause trouble to
Yep.
tanks. The anti-tank rifle is going to cause trouble. So
Yep.
yeah, you've got a lot of things to really gum up a tank commander's world. So yeah, paying for light anti-tank gun for many armies is going to be sufficient, enough of a threat to cause damage and put pins on, but not so expensive that it gets in the way of the other stuff that you want to buy. Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And so the last piece of armor is the airborne recce Jeep.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody's kind of shied away from soft skins in version 3, but because it's recce, as long as I hold my activation as long as possible, it's pretty safe. Um, if something really dangerous, like a squad with a light machine gun fires at it, I can jump out of the way.
Mm-hmm.
If a sniper shoots at it, I'm probably going to just let him shoot because it's only one shot. Yeah,
Right.
he's probably going to hit it, but he still has to roll a 6 to kill it.
Okay.
So, the odds
You
are
would
my
probably
favor.
roll the six. I wouldn't.
Yeah. If it was a light mortar, I would.
Yeah, telling that the truth. Wow.
Yeah.
So okay. And then the rest is, and if you guys aren't using Easy Army, it's definitely worth using. Not haven't used the Warlord app yet, but we definitely like our Easy Army. Got the notes back here, kind
Yep.
of quick reference. Now it's not perfect. You do want to audit your list to make sure they agree with the official rules, but those guys do a lot of good work. So very cool. All right. That's our British. The British
Yep.
are coming. The British are coming. So let's break out the Minutemen here.
And the Rangers got there first.
Yep. Let's see. Let's make sure I didn't. All right, Rangers,
Yep.
lead the
All right,
way.
Rangers.
I know you do.
Oh,
There's a lot to like
yep.
about the Rangers.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yep, Rangers. All right, let's see what you got.
Yep. So inexperienced lieutenant again.
Of course,
Of course. 2 Ranger squads with rifles.
for the
Because
for
especially
the
because the Americans get it regardless of whether they're moving or not. So they get the extra shots. Uh,
right. Yeah, that was again one of those big version 3 changes. Is everybody gets penalties for movement, but the Americans
mm,
get that extra rifle shot to simulate the M1s.
yeah. Got a company commander in this list as
Mm-hmm.
well. Yeah.
Yep.
Sniper team.
Yeah,
So
that's
kind of
different.
brought this to counteract the forward observers, maybe go after them with that.
Okay.
I wanted to see how much of a problem snipers would be to my forward observers, really. That's what it
Roger
amounted
that. Okay.
to. So there is an error. And that's why there was something in the points. I got a bazooka team here and it's listed as inexperienced. It was supposed to be regular. I'm not sure. I must have clicked on that wrong.
Okay.
Yeah. So the Americans actually had 18 more points than the British because I didn't deduct it from anything else. I just went on
Right.
like it was regular. So,
Okay.
yeah. Couple light mortars. They're actually a point cheaper for the Americans. Why, I don't know.
Huh.
They're exactly the same. The only thing different about the American light mortars is you can take a 5-man or a 3-man light mortar for 5 more points,
Okay.
which is kind of cool because then they're no longer, if they take a casualty, you don't have to take a break test right away.
Right. You got a meat
Yeah.
shield.
Yeah. hmm They get a scout car.
And that's for the mortar teams?
The scout car is really just for the company commander,
Okay.
just kind of a shield for him. Don't have an LVT in this list, so he has to ride in a scout car. The
Got
Rangers really
it.
don't need transportation because they're going to get a free move anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's going to put them on the board pretty strong. So the scout car, again, with that 50 cal,
Yep.
causing no end of mayhem.
Got
Okay.
a Jeep for the bazooka. Got to be able
Okay.
to push it up. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Second platoon, inexperienced lieutenant. Uh, 2 more. Okay, so yeah, here's another. Yeah, I thought I wrote this list down when I played the game. I wrote it down on paper, and I should have put it in Easy Army first. So they actually had 1 more Ranger in this second squad than they should have had. So they were actually a little upgunned on me, but I still handled them pretty well.
When you're playing solitaire, you're not supposed to cheat, right? Just saying.
Well,
Oh,
I guess you can cheat
these
yourself,
things
though. That's
happen.
okay, right? You can cheat
That's
on
that's
yourself,
right.
right?
That's right. And that's why we use programs like Easy Army and check them.
Yep.
So there we go. Okay, so more Rangers because they're more fun. More of
Yep.
those light mortar teams that you love
Light,
so
light
well.
mortars. Yep. Because if they work for the
Hmm.
British, they're going to work for the Americans, right?
Yeah, it's gonna be an indirect fire fest.
Yeah.
M18 Hellcat. Wow, that's a lot of armor power for the level that you're playing compared to what the British are running.
Yeah. So I really wanted to see how well the Hellcat's going to work in this game, and we'll go
Sure.
over that in one of the slides. Um, and it was a command vehicle because it's open topped. I kind of wanted to have it to have a bonus. Um,
Okay.
and then they have an M16 multi-gun motor carriage, the meat chopper,
The meat
4 heavy
chopper.
machine
Four
guns.
four HMGs. That's gonna ruin somebody's day. Holy Hannah.
Yep. And that guarantees that if you're playing an opponent with an air observer, it will not come in. Mm.
Go ahead and bring your planes in.
You might
They'll
as well
just
just take
die
that
tired.
ball and set it off to the side because he's not calling in any planes.
Wow.
um,
Okay.
Stuart light tanks, 2 light tanks. So they had
Wow.
2 Stuarts,
Okay.
which was a little bit of a problem for the game because I only have 3 Stuarts. So I had to use a Humber for the British to proxy a Stuart for them. But it's about the same size, so it worked out pretty good.
I know a good place. I know a good place you can get Stuart tanks. Good price too.
Yeah, yeah.
Little little outfit called Gator Games and Books.
And
Sell
here's
it to you all
another
day long.
oddity. So the American Stuart is 130 points. The British
Right.
is 135, and they're exactly the same. There's nothing different
Okay.
about them. So why is that?
Wow. Unless they're baking in some type of rarity factor, I don't know. That's really odd. Okay.
uh, I think
All
the
right.
British used them more than the Americans did. I think.
Well, I know the British used them. Of course, they used them in Europe, used them in North Africa a lot, used them in
Yeah.
Burma.
Yep.
Yeah, but I mean, they and really, the Lee and the Stuart um, saw a lot of action in Burma against Japanese armor. So
Yeah.
there you go. All right. Well, let's look at the pretty pictures here.
Okay. So, yep, this is one of the broad sections of the battle. and this is my jungle board. I've got a down plane. And so the scenario that I rolled it off of Warzone's 12 games. And I ignored the ones that we've already played. And I came up with
Okay.
10, which is called Expand the Beachhead. And it's similar to sectors in a way. So you divide the table into quarters. And then in the center of each quarter, and you can see a little white token down here on the lower left.
Yep.
There's an objective dead in the center of each quarter. And you're not actually just trying to get into sectors, you're trying to control objectives in sectors. And that's the
Right.
primary.
That's a better approach to that scenario, I think.
Yeah. It's a really good scenario. The only problem with it is you don't roll for deployment like you would in the book. John's already picked out deployment, and you deploy on the table in quarters. So the Americans deployed in this lower right quarter, and I was in the upper left quarter with the British, which is why the LVT is sitting over there. And so that created a bit of a problem for the Americans because of my air observers. They were all concentrated in a tight little quarter, and I was able to call in strikes just on the other side of this hut.
Right.
And that's where they needed to go, was to get, because you really need to get in the other home sector and score the 3 points for scoring in the enemy's home sector. And then it's only
Okay.
1 point for a neutral sector. So you don't
All right.
get a lot of points over there. But my bombardments were just, it even messed up their sniper. So one of the other things is the infiltrators. If you deploy outside of your deployment zone, you get a preparatory bombardment. You don't prep. It's called confused bombardment is what he calls it. So you only bombard the neutral sectors, and it's not just a single hit; it's a hit with a heavy howitzer.
Ouch.
So if you so that sniper would be dead meat if he got hit.
Dog food.
Initially, I was wanting to put it in this little guard tower over here on the right, but that was in a neutral sector. I'm like, oh, if I do that and he gets hit, he's gone. So I put him on this little hill back to the right. Well, of course, that's where the British put a bombardment right there. And then the other one was just on the other side of the hut. So it was tough sledding for the Americans. And the other problem with this scenario is if you're playing Rangers, you're screwed because
Why?
you can't do lead the way. Because if you do your lead the way move and you go into a neutral sector, you're going to get hit with a heavy howitzer.
In the deployment area.
Yeah. So, I mean, I can already deploy to the edge of the deployment area. So there's no benefit. Well, actually, it's a detriment if I try to run into a neutral sector with my free move, because then I take a chance of getting hit by a heavy howitzer and losing like 3 or 4 guys or maybe the whole squad.
Right. Right.
If it was a single hit, like in the normal preparatory bombardment, I wouldn't care. It's like, okay, I lose a guy. I don't care. I'm going to take my free move and move up. So they were stuck in the home sector with the bombardments coming down on top of them. So that kind of sucked. I think maybe going in, you can put half of your army in reserve. So I think maybe that would have been better. But it kind of sucks to put Rangers in reserve because it's like they got a free move and I'm putting them in reserve. What good is that?
Yeah. Well, I think, don't they get a bonus though for or automatically come in from reserve as opposed to having to roll?
No, Americans just don't pay a -1 to come in.
Okay. Okay. I knew there was some benefit there. Wow.
Yeah.
All
So
right.
basically, both armies put their armor in reserve. That was the only thing that got put in reserve for both sides was the
Makes sense.
tanks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I did bring one Stuart on for the British because I wanted to have something with little some machine guns to go after right away. But the Americans put all their armor in reserve.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's going on here?
This is where the British controlled the the objective in this neutral sector here. We had killed off both the Ranger squads that were here, and the M16, the company commander in the M3, and this Stuart tried to push up and knock them off the objective. Well, you see the Stuart there on fire. Guess what
Yeah.
knocked that out?
Artillery.
No,
And
a
attack
light
rifle?
mortar. A light mortar.
Wow.
I hit it. So I hit it the first time and immobilized it. I got a superficial result, right?
Okay.
And I hit it the next time and it was on fire. And so it failed its order test for put the fire out, so
Oh,
it burned up. So the little light mortar killed this Stuart tank.
dang.
Yeah,
Those things are, man,
that
they are just nasty.
that was kind of the death knell for the Americans here, because that was,
Yeah.
they're really, the meat chopper was there, but it was pinned up because it's open top. I had like 3 pins on it, so it was already shooting at a minus. And I had some paratroopers in this jungle right here. And the nice thing about paratroopers, well, all right. So the other thing is you see this one paratrooper in the woods. He's the
Yeah.
last man of that 5-man squad of submachine guns.
Okay.
So they continually took casualties, but because they test their morale without pins, they're going to hang. They're almost better than fanatics, because they're going to
Jeez.
pass their order test, especially if you got an officer
Yeah.
nearby. It
Yep.
doesn't matter how many casualties they take. And I think in our game, no, we didn't do that in our game. I think there was another game I played, the paratroopers, and the last guy seems to hang around. It's like normally a regular squad would have done broke and ran, but because they're stubborn, they don't care.
Wow. They just keep coming.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep. The Recce
That
Jeep,
is, yep.
it did a lot of work. Killed some guys, threw out pins. I like it. For as cheap as it is, it's not as good as it was. You used to put out 10 shots, but I think the
Oh,
6, yeah. But with the way shooting is now, I think the 6 are more effective than the 10.
well, that was exactly what I was going to say is, okay, you used to put out 10, but you got all kinds of negatives to hit. Now you're gonna, I mean, unless
How
you're
about
shooting
going
with
down?
inexperienced troops, you're gonna hit. Right.
Yeah. And
Um,
before, if you shot that at a squad, 10 shots, you're going down, right? Pretty
right,
much.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Unless you're in hard cover, you might not go down if you're in hard cover, but
right,
um so yeah, so now it's like, oh, 6 shots, I don't care. But yeah, okay, I
right,
put a pin on you, now I've killed a guy, which is like the minimum. That usually
right.
every time I do that.
Yeah.
And then of course the Stewarts, it's pushing up. It actually shot at this Stewart and hit it once, but it put a pin on it. So that kind of contributed to the failing the order test for the fire.
Man.
Yeah.
Wow. Somebody had a rough day. Jeez.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Got the arm of Zeus here. What
Yes.
are you pointing at?
I am. So I was pointing at the this Humber, which is a Stewart. That was my proxy.
Okay.
If you look
Proxy
just
Stewart.
behind it, there's a Stewart on fire.
Yep.
So I had come in on the other side of these woods here. This is the one that came in on reserve, and
Okay.
it pushed in and shot this Stewart in the side and killed it.
Mm.
Yeah. So, but before that happened, I had my paratroopers over here in this scout, and it had killed it. It had moved around to the right here and shot that scout and killed it. And then, of course, my guys had to jump out, and 2 Ranger squads they got this objective, and then they had kind of encircled these paratroopers behind the scout. But I had another squad coming up through the woods to fight them off. It was turn 6. Maybe if we had turn 7, I might have been able to knock them off this objective, but we stopped at 6. So objective wise, it was 1-1, but kill
Oh,
point
wow.
wise, I think I killed yeah, because neither one of us could get into the home sector and take
Right.
the the 3-point objective, but I had killed like maybe 11 American units to 2 British units. So the
Wow.
secondary objective gave it a win.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
like
because
those
the
extra
secondary was
objectives.
kill. So the kill points
Okay.
in the secondary was like 1 point for infantry. It was like 2 points for vehicles, and I think 3 points or maybe 2 points for infiltrators and 3 points for vehicles. But I
Yeah.
killed both their stewards, so that was a lot of points right there.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Oh, you didn't see that. So the Hellcat, I don't think we had the slide for that.
We didn't.
But the Hellcat, the whole game it was on that side, but it was a little farther back, and it was shooting at long range at my LVT
Sure.
the whole game. Hit it twice, couldn't kill it.
No.
No way.
Heavy anti-tank gun.
Yeah,
Jeez.
it immobilized it, but it couldn't kill it.
And I wasn't
And the
even there
com-
rolling dice.
and the company commander was right behind it, so it was like, I don't care how many pins I got, I'm going to activate.
Wow. Wow. Geez. So sounds like fun. So takeaways. What'd you learn?
Okay. Yeah. So basically about the scenario, I think it's a really good scenario, except I think it probably need to tweak it as far as the bombardment because it really hurt if somebody's bringing Rangers, it's going to mess them up. Or if they got a lot of forward deployers.
Yeah.
Although that's not a bad thing, like to kind of counter the scout squads, somebody wants to spam them.
Right.
Um,
Okay, very
yeah.
good. Yeah, I mean, in any game if the offboard artillery rules are written correctly, they are a great equalizer. And that's one thing bolt action has pretty right is the effect of OBA, and I like it. I always have. I've always been a fan that anything 15 millimeter and larger, I always feel like you ought to have the option to have already offboard. So that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Okay. Well, as you know, we've got, of course, the new German book will be dropping at the end of January, and I know folks are really excited about that. And we did find out that we got just a sneak peek at the new U.S. Army book. But before we go there, I've been watching these new releases, and yeah, I run a store, and I'd like to sell it all, but there's certain things that I just like better than others. And when I saw the German veteran infantry platoon, I'll probably end up picking up a box of these guys. I mean, especially if
Yeah.
you just paint them gray, call it easy. But I mean, they've got all kinds of cool stuff like the grenade bundles. You can make a flamethrower and an engineer squad out of here. So if you haven't bought the Pioneers, you can actually take one of these squads and turn them into Pioneers. Got the guy, shooting the machine gun over the shoulder, which is a very iconic picture from World War II. So yeah, I just like when I saw these guys, I'm like, okay, these are pretty darn cool. Now, the theme is kind of around East Front, Stalingrad, but you can use these guys in any army, and their kit is pretty standard, German kit. So you're just throwing that gray on there. You're not necessarily doing anything with any kind of multicam or multicolor. So I like them. We've got them on sale. This is the starter army, but I also have the infantry kit. And like I say, I'll definitely be picking up the infantry kit. The starter army adds a platoon, medium machine guns, Mark IV short. I'm sorry, yeah, Mark IV short, and the ubiquitous PSW 222, 223. So it's a classic German army from 1940 to 42, worth having. Of the ones they've come out with for the Germans, this one's my favorite so far. There you go. Yeah, I use my own stuff. I know it's bad. Again, Armies of Germany will be dropping into January. If you've not pre-ordered from us, come see us. We're 10% off. So there you go. Yeah, we can get the special figures. And I think Warlord has done a super job of previewing all the stuff that's going to be coming for Armies of Germany. We had a special on that, I think last week or the week before. If you want to go look at that, check our video list. Armies of the United States. We got just a tease this week from Warlord.
Little sneak
But
peek.
yeah. Now, one of the things I noticed just right off the front is the newer covers have better art. They're a little bit more of the cover is covered with actual painting, and that's kind of cool. Um, More rules coming. Apparently, they've got the USMC rules in here and some other things. We didn't try and read that little fine script, but I am sure there will be intel briefs. We will certainly keep you all up to date as it comes. Be watching also. We will be doing a preview of the Armies of Germany right before it drops. So keep your eyes on that. Um, Looks like Randy caught this with his love affair for Jeeps. A Jeep with twin bazookas is in the book, so that'll be
Yep.
fun. And the bazooka's 24 inches out, firing HE, so nothing to sneeze
Yeah.
at.
Everybody was wondering if this was going to make it into the third edition because people had just started to play with it in second edition.
Okay, and
Yeah.
and an armored Jeep, which is interesting. So you get the
Yeah. I
benefits
don't
of a
think
Jeep, and it's armored.
I'm not sure the one in version 2 was armored. I can't remember if it had the frontal armor or not. And that might be why the
Probably,
points increase. Yeah.
yeah, probably. And the bazooka Jeep may be armored. I don't know, but
Yeah.
the armored Jeep was definitely in version 2. Um, I want to say that it was maybe in one of the source books. I could be wrong. So that's everything we know. We're all
Look what
excited.
I got.
The
Yeah.
do what? Oh, and
What
of
I
course
got.
you have one.
Of course, I've
Randy's
got
got the
plenty of
toys,
bazookas.
y'all.
So all I got to do is throw a couple bazookas on top of this, and I'm ready to go with
Oh
it.
my gosh, y'all hide your tanks. Here comes Randy. Well, and not only that, bazookas are good. Bazookas, Panzerfaust, Panzer Shreks, they're good against more than armor these days. They're good against buildings and bunkers too.
Buildings. Yeah. And
And
think
I,
about
you
two
know,
shots now. Small team. Okay, I'm gonna hit. You got two guys. Okay, I'll hit you with each bazooka and take you out.
right. Nice knowing you. So, but shape charge weapons have become much more useful. Well, I ain't got any heavy armor. That's all
Oh,
right. I'll drive you guys out the buildings.
so just a quick note on that. I
Yeah.
was watching Black Hawk Down before we did this video, and one of the guys was driving a deuce and a half, and they fired a rocket launcher at the truck,
Yeah.
and it went in and stuck out. It didn't go off, but it went in and stuck out the back of the guy's back. When they pulled him out, you
Oi.
could see the missile. Yeah, so that was he didn't survive. I'm pretty sure, but it would have killed everybody if it went off.
Yeah. Wow. Jeez. I guess it didn't detonate because it didn't hit anything. Skin's not
Yeah,
hard enough to detonate it.
yeah.
Wow. Let's see here. And just kind of a little bit more of a commercial here. We are continuing our bulge sale through the end of this week, so I will be getting this video up probably tonight, if not first thing Friday, and we're going to run our bulge sale all the way through the first Saturday in January. So use code bulge80 a discount. If you've got questions, of course, our email and everything will be in the comment section below. Uh, oh, and one other thing, we are already planning for our March tournament. It's going to be here in Savannah, going to be at a live church. Um, haven't settled on probably be $30 a head like we did last time. And we've got some plans for some special scenarios in regards to the tables. We'll tell y'all more about that when we get closer. But be making plans. We're thinking I've got March 15th on the calendar. So be making plans. We purposely tried to schedule this so that it didn't run into any of the other major tournaments that are going on. Also, we're
Yeah.
going to be doing a Siege of Augusta preparation day on December 11th, the Saturday before Siege. If you're near Savannah and you want to come up and test drive your army, we're going to be at a live church again. And we've got room there for easily, I think we said 12 people. So come on and we'll have the store out and, you know, be a bolt action. We'll probably also have some other games going on as well. So there you go. That's stuff that Gators keeping moving. Those two items will be up under the RHMGS club. Those guys really helped us out, but those are things that are coming up, and just keep watching the channel. Randy, anything else for the folks?
Yeah, just one little quick thing about the solo game. So, um, it's kind of interesting running solo games because it really challenges you to play your best, and you can't hide anything. So there's no sneak attacks in solo games. So it's kind of challenging to actually play. And it's the thing you have to do is you have to be honest with yourself. You can't go, okay, well, this is my army, this is the other army. You know, I'm just going to play bad for the other army and I'm going to win. Well, that's not the objective. You want to test your army. So you have to go, when you go to the other side of the table, you have to really be honest and say, how would I play this if I was playing this army? And then you have to go back to the other side and say, how am I playing this with this army? So you just, it's pretty challenging, but it kind of teaches you a little bit more how to beat your army, really.
Okay. The die pool mechanic probably helps with that too, because you don't know which army you're going to be playing next die poll.
Right.
And so it's not like you can purposely or otherwise set a unit up for failure. Yeah. And at the end of the day, you know, some folks might raise an eyebrow at playing solitaire, but sometimes that's the best way to literally test drive situations, test drive the rules. You got time to look up anything you've got questions on. So yeah, good on you, and appreciate you sharing that journey with us. And I know from playing against you, it's certainly making you a better player. So there you go. All right. Well, I think that's everything from Gator Games and Books and Gator's Garage for this trip. Be watching Saturday when we will be interviewing Kalissa Skibicki, who is the tournament organizer for the Siege of Augusta bolt action tournament, and that'll be dropping sometime Saturday evening. So thank you guys for watching. As always, best way to support the channel is buy stuff from Gator Games and Books. But you can buy us a coffee for $5 on Patreon or Ko-Fi, because Lord knows this is thirsty work. And we'll have links to Randy's channel, as well as Siege of Augusta and our store in the comment section. And thanks for watching.
Thank you, everybody.